Sup dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So at long last, I'm making my Kuva Survival Nekros video. Lots of work has gone into this, over a month of testing stuff out. I've got full Archon shards, we got Helminth, we got full weapon loadouts and all that, so it's a deep dive on Nekros build for Kuva Survival specifically. Before we get into that, let's go over the sponsor of today's video. Let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, Struct. Struct is a free app for creating, playing, and sharing 3D games. With Struct, you can create your own games without any coding experiences. There's been over 2 million games already created on Struct, with everything ranging from shooters, RPG, racing, zombie survival, and more. You can scroll through their huge list of games to play, find something you like, while also commenting on and sharing these games with others. I'm currently playing their newest flagship title called Struct Showdown, which I found a pretty fun and satisfying PvP experience. The Struct community team is also listening to feedback from the community and taking it to heart, constantly improving and changing this app with weekly updates. You can check out my link in the description and download Struct today. Alright, let's get back to the content. Thank you so much to Struct for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so for this Nekros setup, basically, Kuva Survival Requiem Fissures are like some of the most rewarding missions you can play in the game right now. Because you get a bunch of Kuva, you can open up Requiem relics, you get traces, you get a bunch of stuff. But there's a problem. When you're doing those missions, it's basically a survival, but you defend the tower after you turn it into a defense objective. These new Eximus units love to blow up that tower, specifically the Blitz Eximus. This guy right here, that fire pillar will one-shot the Kuva Survival Tower. But you want to keep it alive for your Kuva and all that good stuff. So we're using the Helminth ability from Banshee called Silence. It makes Eximus pretty much just back into normal enemies. They will no longer cast their special abilities. And as you see, that fire pillar is gone. We can use Armor Strip from Nekros to make it where these enemies are pretty much one-shot territory when we use certain powerful weapons, which we'll be going over today. So that's the idea of it. Pretty much like support Nekros. Banshee's Helminth ability could be used on other frames, but I think honestly having one or two people on your team with this ability is extremely valuable with the, how they made Eximus their own thing this year. So we'll be going over that. We do have full Archon shards, like I said. The Archon shards are flexible, but for this exact setup, you're going to need a Tau red shard to do the exact thing I'm doing here. So we'll go over that in a little bit. Let's start with some gameplay of what I'm talking about. So this is the mission I'm talking about right here. This red survival tower, that's what we're trying to protect, and these missions are really, really good for giving you lots of loot. So if you have one or two people with Silence, it will make it where those Eximus are not going to be bullying that tower. So you're going to want some range. A lot of people will go low range on Silence builds to try and, make the enemies get permastun. We don't care about the permastun with this build. We actually have 2 or 3 sources of stunning. So we're not really worried about Silence stunning them. We're only using Silence for the Eximus ability turnoff. It technically will turn off other high priority target abilities as well, but we're mainly focusing on Eximus here. So let's start going over the build for what I went for. And like I said, there's a couple things you could mess with. I'm not really happy with how much range we have on here, but we're going to talk about something very troll that DE did to us in a second here. So as far as the build, we're going for a full shield getting setup with Brief Respite and Augur Message. Now the troll thing that DE did to us today is Brief Respite is going to be on ability cast, 150% of the energy is spent converted into overshields. Terrify has a 75 energy cost. 150% of 75 is 112.5. So DE decided to round down. We get 112 shields on cast from just Brief Respite when we need 113 to fully shield gate. Yes, DE did extremely hardly troll us here, so we need to run an Augur mod somewhere to get full shield gate. So I went with Augur Message. We had Prime Continuity in this slot before, but you can't fully shield gate with that. So I put Augur Message there. Less duration, but better shield gate technically. So we got 2 mods for shield gate. A little bit of duration is not going to hurt anybody, where we have longer duration on our Silence, won't have to recast it as much. Longer duration on our Shadows of the Dead, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. We're min-maxing them, but they're probably not even worth it. And then as far as the rest of the build, since it's shield gating, you want to throw in Rolling Guard, which is just really good for shield gating in general. We're using Vazarin Focus School, so you could technically be invincible as long as you're Rolling Guard, Brief Respite, and Vazarin dashing at the proper times. Stretch is very, very good on this build, as we have Desecrate, which is going to give us more loot. The entire reason I'm playing Nekros, to be honest. So yeah, if we could gem on some more loot, maybe auger reach in this slot, we'd have less duration, but we'd have more range, which, you know, that might be more influential to some people. But the way I look at it is I don't want to be recasting silence every 30 seconds. That just sounds annoying. So with that, but you know, there's definitely some argument to having auger reach on there instead. We'll actually leave it on there for now, just to show how much of a point that is. So now we've got a 43 meter radius on our Desecrate. We got Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. This will get our power strength pretty high up there, but not enough to be full armor strip. That's where the Tau Crimson Shard comes into play. We'll have enough power strength to fully remove enemy armor. We're also using Creeping Terrify to slow them down. This, combined with Arcane Eruption on Energy Orb pickup, chance to knock down enemies in an area. They're going to be stunned, all right? They're going to be stunned. They're going to be Silence stunned, they're going to be Creep and Terrify stunned, or they'll be Eruption stunned. They're not going to be fighting back. If they are an Xmas, that's what the entire build's about. We're trying to make the Xmas not a problem. Equilibrium makes every health orb into an energy orb, and vice versa. Despoil makes it where we're going to be draining health instead of energy for our Desecrate, which is good because we're not really modding for too much energy on here, and we're trying to cast Terrify and make sure Silence is always active. So we don't want to be wasting any energy if we can avoid it. And then we've also got the Arcanes here. Creeping Terrify is just like a good mod on Nekros, but Theorem Infection. This is the one I'm not sure if I really want to keep it in the long run, but it does work relatively well. It's going to be a lot to go over here. So basically, I think the gameplay will speak for itself. Standing in a blue tentacle zone that you create by killing an enemy with a kit gun, which is a low chance to proc, by the way. I think it's like a 20% chance to proc from a kit gun kill. It will make your Shadows of the Dead do a different element of damage. Actually, it will make them do an additional element of damage. So, for example, I have the electric one on. Residual Shock. On my Spore Lacer kills, I'll have a 20% chance to make a blue tentacle area. If I stand in the blue tentacle area, my summons will do increased electric damage. That's pretty much all it is. Now, unfortunately, it's, like I said, 20% proc chance is not really good enough for me, so I don't actively recommend people use Theorem Infection, but I did want to definitely have it on the build just to show that it is technically kind of good. Kind of, not really that great, since we can armor strip with Nekros so easily now. Let's start going over the weapons, because these are actually going to be pretty important. And before we go over that, we'll go over the shards. So, we've got 2 casting speed shards. This is mainly for casting Shadows of the Dead really fast, because it's a really, really slow ability cast normally, and you don't want to waste a mod slot for natural talent, because we're trying to jam as much on here as we possibly can. So yeah, 2 casting speed shards for Shadows of the Dead, also technically for Terrify, makes you cast that really quick. 1 power strength Tau Crimson Shard. That's, like I said, for the full armor strip from Terrify. I think you need like 168 or something for Terrify to fully strip, so that's what we're looking for there. Also technically means you're going to hit more enemies with Terrify, and Shadows of the Dead will have better multipliers. Our 2 blue shards, these are the ones you could probably have flexibility with, but I've gone with 2 energy max shards, giving us a total of 288 energy. The reason for that is because I want to be able to cast Shadows of the Dead, which costs 100 energy, Terrify, which costs 75 energy, and Silence, which costs 75 energy, from a full energy bar. If you don't have 2 blue energy shards on here, you will not have enough energy to cast all 3 of those abilities from a full energy bar. That's how I look at it. If that's not important to you, feel free to put something else on. Nekros doesn't really have that much armor, so maybe an armor shard. Some health regen shards, maybe if you're doing combat discipline or something, but yeah, that's the shard setup. A little bit of flexibility, but I'd say that the amber shards for casting speed are really nice, and this red one's basically required for this build. Alright, starting off with the weapons. We've got one of the hardest hitting weapons in the game is the Felarx. It's an Incarnon weapon, and our evolutions are projectile speed on evolution 2, auto reload 1 holstered on evolution 3. Evolution 4, we've got Racking Wrath with minus crit chance and plus status chance, and then we've got the big damage evolution 4, Devastating Attrition, 50% chance to deal 2,000% increased damage on non-crits. So we're going for a non-crit build here. If you have a Riven for minus crit chance, feel free to run it, but I've got no Riven set up for you right here. So we're going for Viral Electric, and obviously no crits. So, just get headshots. Now, the nice thing about this is that you can, the way I look at the Felarx, they buffed it recently, well, not recently, like a month ago, where the primary shot is a shotgun. That's how I look at it. The shotgun is a primary mode. The secondary shot is a sniper pistol. You could hit with a sniper, the secondary Incarnon mode from really far away, and when you're armor stripping enemies like this with Nekros, you're going to kill basically everything in one bullet with the Felarx. 730k with no Riven, and we'll switch it to the Incarnon mode. Now, if you put a projectile speed mod on here, it will really snipe, but you can hit from pretty far away with no projectile speed mod as well. So 300k, 777k. Now that's going to have Archoplasmor like body punch through, so if you shoot down a hallway of like 10 enemies, that Felarx will probably kill all of them, honestly. So, pretty nice. Now, the pistol mode did not used to have that infinite body punch through. That's actually what they buffed. They added that in. So this thing's really good for mowing through enemies. The reason I'm using this is it's to deal with Eximus. Like I said, this is an anti-Eximus build. So if we see an Eximus, let's just say that this situation pops. I'm not gonna put invincibility on. We have 5 Eximus right here. Honestly, not that unrealistic of a situation for high-level missions. Silence is active. We're gonna go in there. Ice Bubbles down. Terrifies down. We can viral proc them with our secondary, which we'll go over in a second. We have Vazarin Dash, so in case we get pushed by an Eximus, just make yourself invincible. Pretty cheesy. And yeah, their abilities aren't working, and we're basically invincible. Their armor stripped, and it's GG. If you have to reload your gun, this thing's full auto. Once it's fully expended, switch to your secondary, and you switch back to your Felarx instantly fully reloaded. So you can just like mash out DPS constantly. So Felarx is really good. I'll probably have a full video guide on that soon with like Riven min-maxing and stuff, but yeah. For a no Riven build, for an elemental setup, this is really nice. You'll be killing lots and lots of high-level enemies with this loadout. I know it's using a lot of Prime mods, and it's kind of hard to fit everything on. If you do have a Riven, I'm just going to let you know, this build does not fully fit on with a Riven. You have to run unmaxed mods if you're using a Riven, so that's unfortunate. Maybe D can hopefully fix that someday, but yeah. So if you're going to be using the Theorem infection setup, guys, Residual Shock is the one I've been using. On kit gun kill, chance to make the tentacle zone, causing electric damage and making your summons do electric damage. If you don't like that, definitely go with Pack's Charge for infinite ammo, infinite magazine, basically no reload. Or you can just go with a non-kit gun. I'm basically using kit gun right here, the summoner gun for Nekros, just to try it out. And by the way, I have a Bane of the Grenier Riven. Since this is a build meant for fissures, Bane of the Corrupted is actually not that bad. I've got Bane of the Grenier on my Riven. I've got Bane of the Corrupted on the build as well, because there's lots of corrupted enemies spawning. There's lots of Grenier enemies spawning if you're doing Kuva Fortress here. So having both is actually not a bad thing. So consider that if that's something that you're interested in. All right, so finishing off the last couple of like mods and builds here. It's a viral build meant for when the enemies are armor stripped. Now keep in mind, this is not doing... Fulmination is not as strong as it used to be, so if you want to take off Prime Fulmination for something else, be my guest. I usually was running Hornet Strike there, but it does technically fall off, Hornet Strike. If you do run Hornet Strike and not Prime Fulmination, you could put Deep Freeze in this slot for more elemental damage, as this is not a status chance build. We've gone for a full Spore Lacer, Splat Haymaker, full crit, basically full damage. And then as far as the last couple weapons, since we're playing Nekros, you want to use the Ripkas if you can, with Amalgam Ripka's True Steel, giving us basically guaranteed dismemberment on kill. This does work on other weapons besides the Ripkas. The Ripkas themselves are not the best weapon, even with a decent Riven. It's just not a good weapon. But yeah, this is like for shredding open Grenier, making it so there's more body parts for Nekros to desecrate and give us more loot. Vazarin Focus School. You, of course, could definitely go with other Focus Schools here, but Vazarin's going to be really good utility. You can dash through that life support tower you're trying to keep alive to heal it. You can dash through yourself for invincibility. You can do a lot of other stuff, too. Really, any Focus School will be good here. If you don't want to run a Tau Shard, you can maybe go for Matarai for full strip to do the double dash for extra power strength. I just don't like doing that kind of stuff, so that's up to you. And then the companion of choice is Count Kirby, the Smita Cat. Just basically, Smitas give you more loot if you have Charm proc. That's the entire long and short of it. So, if you want more loot, bring a Smita, and you can potentially get double loot. Alright, so overall, that is the build and the setup, guys. It's really good. I know the footage right here is using a different Helminth, but the Gloom Nekros is still really good, too. If you have someone on your team already running Silence for this mission, you can do other stuff. But I would say that Silence on somebody is crucial. If you don't have Silence on your team and you're trying to do a Kuva Survival Requiem Endurance, you're going to start losing towers instantly. Like, you are. They like to spawn Eximus right on top of you, and if it's that Blitz Eximus, the Blitz Eximus is more dangerous than the Acolyte. Seriously. That Pillar of Fire is what one-shots Anaros before he's supposed to get one-shot a lot of the time. So, keep an eye out for that. Keep it out for this mission. This mission is my main mission I run. It's so good. You get Kuva, you get Requiem mods, you get Requiem mods, you open the relics, and you get Steel Essence too if you're killing the Acolytes. So really, really nice. Yeah, I'll have a full Felarx video out soon if it's not already out. Thank you so much to Struck for sponsoring today's video. Go check out that link down below, guys, to check out the product. And yeah, I appreciate all the support. I'll see you in another one tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.